Yeah. Are you awake at that time, Dave?
Department of War. Oh no, what are we going to do? Let's get this show on the road. Okay, now that we've got it on the road. So,
I'm
what do you say?
Nelson's song because he's a dumb liberal. I hate to say it. Willie Nelson's effed up. I didn't realize that till about 3.5, 4 years ago. All the years, like, oh, well, Willie Nelson, the Four Horsemen, do. Then you realize he's a flaming lefty piece of trash, DEI supporter. Been that way his whole life.
Too bad. I know, but it's a lot of people that that we've liked because of the persona they put out there, and then we find out that they're really not what they say they are.
Yeah,
it's kind of disappointing. So, but what do you think about the Department of War now versus Department of Defense?
I'm whatever.
I like it.
Fine with that. Yeah, we've never actually defended ourselves. We've just been involved in war, so you might as well see it fit. To be honest with you, we haven't. Nothing we've done has defended ourselves yet. We've just been there. Here's a war, asshole. Have at it. So
yeah, it is what it is.
I like it. It's the liberals hate the word.
Well, I'm hearing that Matt was telling me that because of Trump renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, it's actually just a workaround for Trump to be able to drill and lower the price of gas. So does that mean that there's? So does that mean? Does that mean? Oh my goodness! Get this. Can you have me my phone, my other phone, please? Okay, and so like, is there some sort of legal workaround that we're doing? Is this, or, there's got to be more to the story than just naming it the Department of War. There's got to be something he's doing to enable some form of legality behind future actions, and that will be what we need to predict. What are those future actions? Is that the case, Dave? John, anybody?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that part, but I do know about the America, because all the documentation by the Biden administration was written out as the Gulf of Mexico. And once the word Mexico leaves, America's there, they can no longer, because you got to keep in mind that any law that is on the books, that the liberals are finding some way to circumvent it. And this would be one way.
They stick on words. Yeah.
Right. In other words, it might not be the truth. In other words, the law. They either circumvent the law, or else they let. Now, here's the words. In other words, they said, well, if they want to fight against it, well, we're not drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. It's not. We're drilling in the Gulf of America. It's just the point of, they are going to continue as long as they're in power, or I should say, as long as they're still around. They're going to continue to find any little nook or cranny to develop things imaginary or true, and they're going to run with it. They're not doing our country any good. They're only trying to bring it back down. Literally, there is absolutely nothing that the Democrats are doing. And actually, I've been seeing a lot from a lot of people talking about getting rid of the word Democrats from the parties completely. In other words, having it as a.
I can believe you. I'd go for that. I mean, I'd like to get rid of it too, and let them start out new.
The Socialist Communist Party is what they actually are.
Yeah. Hey, sweetheart, my beautiful wife is now tuned in. Anybody that's watching this video is get in the comment section. Leave a hand at my beautiful wife. Yeah. And Nancy Dunks. Nancy Dunks up in the house. Nancy Dunks.
Nancy's arrows.
Thank you.
Hey, Nancy, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, so I think that because words seem to have such an effect and have been used against us in a lot of cases, where it'll certain things will say all or not specific enough, and they'll stand on that, even though the meaning may not be that meaning. So go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done, Dave, but I just want to chime in on your talking about words. words are like, gosh, how can I put this? Because I need the right words for this. But a Marxist like tactic in inverting society is to redefine words. That's their main goal. I mean, that is like something they talk about in all their books, to invert and rename and like take words
Or
that are really what they're used for, and then changing the definition of those words without actually, and then all you have to do is just everybody get on board and use this way. Don't use this word for what it's meant for. Use it like this. Repeat, 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 and that's what they do. I mean, so words are very important to Marxist crap people and Democrats. So yeah.
in the Democrats, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I agree with you, Nancy. I mean, she hits it right on the nail, right?
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah,
nothing
it's
is
not.
telling me is the stuff that's happening up in Michigan. Have you seen that? Here,
It
let me
was texted to me numerous times by 8 a.m. this morning. People outraged that Dearborn Heights, Michigan, would put Arabic writing, Dearborn Heights in Arabic, on one of its police patches for officers to wear in the field. Now, let me remind you, we live in America. There should be no other language on a police force patch other than English, but especially Arabic, representing Islam, that represents Sharia law, that has nothing to do with the equal treatment of all kinds of people.
Can you think of any police department that has like Spanish on their logos or anything like that?
No.
Well,
People, they
I mean,
hate women, they hate gays, they hate anybody that doesn't agree with their radical way of thinking. You can put that on a patch representing law and order, my lord. So if you don't think that they want America, let me remind you of this.
Well, guess what? Now we're in Congress and we're every corner of the United States. Y'all, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They will never truly comprehend, even after 7 decades, that we aren't going anywhere. We are just getting started. I want to say to all of them, every genocide enabler, look at this room. We ain't going anywhere.
That, of course, is Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Rashida Tlaib got arrested in States.
Well, one of the problems it's been having, I don't know if you guys ever take a good close look at the Florida map between Republicans and Democrats. A lot of the areas around Miami, I guess you could call them the key hot spots, would be Miami, which includes Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. It's really one great big conglomeration, of people all the way through. It's kind of like a giant New York City. And then you've got Tampa, and then you have the Orlando area. Well, for many years, I grew up in South Miami. That was my home. And one of the problems has always been is the Cuban people, or the people that speak Spanish, had always kind of like thought, because they lived down there, that they wanted to also to have the street signs and what have you in both English and in Spanish. And for a lot of purposes, they have had that done. For instance, like 8th Street, Calle Ocho. That's a famous name. It's been used, but many years ago they had that street sign put up there. So they've been fighting for that in Central and South Florida for many years, and that's where you're getting your Democrat society from. They're actually Hispanics. They're actually the Cubans, which of course include the Puerto Ricans and other people from other countries, but heavily Cuban. And they're very adamant about this, about if they're on a bus going someplace or they're in a store and they're with one of their friends, they're going to speak in their second language. They're going to speak in Spanish, so you can't hear what they're saying. In other words, it's one of their ways for being private. And that's the way they've been. And I haven't been seeing too much flack from this at all lately. But when they talk about having problems in Florida with the Democrats coming back at them, they stand a pretty good chance. If they want to go to Florida and start hammering away on this, they're probably going to arrest you and throw you in jail for speaking Spanish. That could become a problem. Same thing as with New Jersey and New York. You've got some heavy Hispanic populations in those areas too. And they are pretty much the same thing. New York City's a big one too, with the subways and stuff. There was, for a time, a lot of the advertisements in the subways were in Spanish. So that's something we got to watch out for too. If the Democrats don't start attacking our base that we've been getting into with the Hispanic speaking people.
Well, here's the follow-up on that. Police.
And that's what we're going to put on a police officer's uniform. This was the now deleted Facebook post from Dearborn Heights, Michigan. It reads, this patch was created by Officer Emily Murdoch, who designed it to reflect and honor the diversity of our community, especially the many residents of Arabic descent who call Dearborn Heights home. By incorporating Arabic script alongside English, this patch represents unity and respect and our shared commitment to service. This patch was created by a woman. Do you not understand that when it comes to Islam, you, Officer Emily, have no rights? But I'm sure you're clueless to that. And it's sad because that's where we are in society. So the people that support this are probably the same people that love the gays for Gaza nonsense, right? Again, I want Islamists to ingratiate themselves into our culture, not try to change our culture like this imam in Boston.
Islam is America's future, or without Islam, America will meet its demise. Islam means submission to the will of God. This is one nation under God. I believe that even if you lied, and even if you lied about this, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and you never believe that.
I don't quite understand that part that he says, but he's absolutely pushing the take over America agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the thing is, there's so many people that don't even realize, that they're living a certain kind of life. Then they're bringing their numbers in, and then once that they get in control, these things will be taken away from them. Yes,
exactly. That's what they did when they there was an Islamic, like resurgence, and I think it was like Iran back in the 60s or 50s when it was like kind of like pushed back a lot. There was women that didn't have to wear all those hijabs and shit, and they were allowed to drive, and they went to school, and they weren't butt raped all the time. And then within the last 20 years, it's completely changed to where now they're all dragged out in the middle of the street, and everybody beats the crap out of them. It's an assisted beat down. Here is Texas, by the way. Texas. This is going on in Texas right here. Check this out. So this man right here is going to door to businesses and explaining to them that if you don't stop selling alcohol, pork, and gambling and stuff, that we're going to demonstrate out in front of your business and make it a big spectacle. And he's, this. By the way, in case you might know this, BLM, Patrisse Cullors, openly admitted to where they're going to start moving their ideology all Muslim based. That was back in 2022 when she announced that. But anyways, hit play. Here we go.
Assalamualaikum. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum. Muslim, right? Mashallah. As a merchant, you have every legal right to sell whatever you want. But as a Muslim, I have a responsibility to tell you, to educate the people and let them know that as a Muslim, you shouldn't sell haram. There's the alcohol, the pork, the gambling, it's all against Islam. And so I'm just letting you know ahead of time, in about 30 days, we're going to start doing demonstrations around the city. The Muslims that have businesses with haram in it will let the people know that we have to teach the people the best. The Muslims have the best. So let the owners know you should begin to change the inventory, or we're just going to demonstrate. We can't stop you. You have a right to do it, but we have to give the da'wah to let the people know the truth about Islam, okay? So get the haram out of your store. May Allah bless you. I love you for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum.
Love you for the sake of Allah. Allah Akbar. Death to America. and to America. And
Yeah.
if I was those people right there, I would have been like, well, I'm a Christian and I have a duty, which is me beating the holy shit out of you. And I'm fixing to do it right now. I'm going to whoop your ass. And I would do that. I would just go to it like it was no tomorrow. I'd start beating the shit out of that dude. And I'd say on the behalf of Christianity, and you can call me a violent Christian all you want to, but see, what they're doing is they're gearing up. They're getting ready. They already said when they get their numbers right, that's when they're going to change everything over. They're going to be, they'll lay low. They'll do what they got to do. They'll assimilate till they get everybody in place. And that means there's people that are Muslim that don't look like that at all. They're
Right.
white people that have converted to Muslim ideology, and they're studying this under the radar. And as soon as they, as soon as the green light's given, they're going to come at you. And do you know the guy that's going to be running the Golden Dome to protect the United States, like the Iron Dome for like in like Iraq, or I'm not Iraq, but it was the same place, not the same place. Won't piss off people, but Israel.
Mhm.
I'm mad at the Israel government, not Jewish people. Uh, the the guy's as a Muslim. There's a Muslim dude in our military that is going to be running the Golden Dome. Now, what do most Muslims do when it's time for them to do what they got to do? They adhere to their religion. They're not going to if they're in our military and they're given the green light, they're going to do what Allah told them to do. This is it right here. This is the guy. He's going to be running the future. He's in charge of the construction, the programming, and all that stuff related to the Golden Dome right here.
To that end, the oath for me is the perfunctory, the memorized words that we say. To that end, the oath for me is
Now,
the perfunctory.
Here's the deal.
Now, you don't believe that somebody from that part of the world, but have been born and raised in America, that wouldn't carry or are capable of carrying those same beliefs, or you know what I mean? Like,
he's American.
If a white American can convert to Islam, why can't somebody convert to Christianity or whatever and not have those same belief patterns? I mean, because sometimes we just base.
No, I know they can. They can. No, I say they can't, but I wouldn't even trust a white dude at this point. So the odds are stacked against him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you nailed it when you said, well, a white person can conform or convert to Muslim.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Anybody that takes it we are in a very dangerous point in time. So would we be safer with a white person running that? No. At this moment right now, I have the least amount of confidence in our military. I hate that. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Regardless of skin color, it doesn't help that he's a Muslim dude or looking dude, but because of programmed ideology and really leftist military leaders, who most of them aren't from the United States, I have a serious problem with our now new military, which completely does not have any adherence to the Constitution, the American people.
Well, yeah, and it's been changing over a period of years. And just because Trump's in office doesn't mean it's going to change overnight.
No, and the problem that you're running into is because this ideology has been baked in for so long. The test of whether or not you're really American or not hasn't had to come to be yet, but it is now, and we're starting to see the outcome of that we don't have Americans anymore living in America. Even the ones that are from here, they have now decided that America is a bad place. They hate this place. It needs to be changed. So we're in a really bad place. So just because he's Muslim makes it worse. But no, I wouldn't trust them. I don't trust any of these people anymore.
Yeah, then there's the question: who would you put in there, and how would you
nobody.
figure out the vetting?
So here's the deal. This is where the Constitution made a really good point. We need a well-organized militia in
I
case
knew that was
we
coming.
have a rogue government. There was a reason for that, because the vetting process means nothing. The vetting process is flawed from the get-go, because I'm sure that the military would love to have all their members adhere to the orders being given to them, not the Constitution, not the American people. That is the main goal of the military at this point. It's not to protect us. It's not to make sure that we're okay. It's to do the bidding of the government and the globalists who are waging wars against different countries for power structure. And so the vetting process, no matter how it's done, is flawed on purpose. We need somebody that, like in our local area, that's lived here, that sees what's going on. We need small little groups of people allowed. That's really why the Constitution was structured like that. Because otherwise, if you don't have that, you're going to rely on a military that hates you. I mean,
Yeah, and then the other problem is, okay, this well-organized militia, you could have several different well-organized militia and be constitutionally protected at the same time, but all have different ideologies behind them.
yeah. Well,
So there's a scary point.
Exactly. But the thing is like the Constitution is only as good as its ability to be facilitated.
Right. Oh, that's true.
And if you're relying on the government to facilitate that constitutional right, then you're sadly out of the game right off the gate, because that's not how the government's going to operate once it's gone rogue.
Well, and that's our biggest problem anyway. We've turned so many problems over to the government, thinking, "Oh, okay, the government's big enough; they can take care of it." And then we get this false idea that they would do a better job, and so forth. And in a lot of cases, they don't, because our safety, because people want to feel safe, right? So,
yeah. So, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Well, I mean, I'm going to show you something. Let me see if I can find it sort of quickly here. But here's a congressman who's sitting on the Senate floor, and where is it at? Let me see. It's past the big fat woman that can't get in the booth, I think. Let's see here. Well, or maybe I've got it saved somewhere else. Hold on. But it's worth looking at here. But whenever we had leaders back in the day, our forefathers realized that, what can we have a base operating system off of? We need that. We don't need somebody to come up with a method of how we live, because most of the time that's all going to be based on their intentions. So we need a sovereign base operating system that has a sustainable way of life that will provide the ultimate human experience. And what better way to base this nation off of a Christian ideology? Because the only violence that Christians are entitled to is defending Christianity and themselves, and that's okay. That's sustainable, because once you get outside of that, everything is all love and peace, and that's the truth. But here is this Congress dude who's going to tell us otherwise.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator. That's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime.
He tries to base our Christian nation and the way that we structured the system is the same as it has. Christianity is not the same ideology as Islam, or they call it Sharia law, anyways. So
that bases its rule on Shia law.
Can't even say the damn word right.
And targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator.
That he doesn't even understand that the Muslim ideology, it doesn't list the creator. It just is a guy that came up with a plan. That's all that is. There's no Muslim God. There is no Muslim creator. It's just a book that reads on how to exist under the rules and laws of Sharia, and that he doesn't even know that that's not even giving you a base operating of what we're created. But back to him.
So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
That guy's extremely troubling. He's dangerous.
He's still looking for his glasses, by the way.
Yeah, he's like, where are my damn glasses at? Holding his car keys. My damn car keys. Yeah. I know I left my anal loop somewhere. It's in your hand, dummy. It's in your hand. But anybody that wears their glasses like that needs the shit smacked out of them anyways. But when you add that ideology on top of it, I see nothing wrong at all with dropping that dude off of a bridge, politically, theoretically.
Yeah.
But he has no business anywhere close to a structure of power, because his way of thinking is they're in charge of your freedom. Laws were put in place to protect people from stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when all of the people that laws were created for actually get into power? We made laws to keep you from getting your stuff stolen. We created laws to regulate traffic flow so that people are safe on the highway. And what happens when all the people who violate those laws are in charge now? And that's one of them right there. That's one of them for a good example. You're found a very bad place.
And I see that. What was this? Oh, I'm looking at something else. Pardon me.
Pardon you, John. Do you have any
I started to talk about something. I was looking. I was, wait a minute. I'm on a different screen there for a second.
Yeah.
No, there's just things. I mean, things are closing in on November, when we're going to get a whole big smack in the face coming up with this election garbage.
Oh, that or the spaceship that's hurtling towards us that's going to take over humanity. One of the two.
Well, we're more worried about the spaceship in my own backyard than when it's out there in space.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's another one of those, the sky's falling again. But no, if New York State does go, if New York City gets a new mayor that's Muslim, you better believe all the shit's going to hit the fan. What about's going to happen with all these, with all these senators and these Congress people, redistricting? This is a whole bunch of things that we need to make sure that we get ahead of before it actually happens.
Well, I do believe there's people working on it.
There's people working on it, but how I want to put this. We don't have enough people as large as the contingencies are for social media. We still aren't having the people out there that are covering this sort of stuff. I mean, usually you had I guess it's OMG. You have him. You've got Ben. I'm trying to think what his last name is. Burkham, and a few others. You had Oscar, who's the Mexican, but he's over in Israel. Nobody's really covering about what's really going on behind the scenes that we need to cover back about the voting. The voting is still the most important issue right now.
Yeah, it is.
Literally.
Absolutely.
And nobody is really covering. I mean, I'm starting to see the one guy that's what's his name again? He's a tall guy with the long hair who's you're talking about Scott Pressler, New Jersey, and he was the deputy.
Scott Pressler.
Yeah, John Pressler, right. Scott Pressler, right. He's still out there, and he's I just saw yesterday, or he might have been today, that he was talking about they signed 56 more people up in this one small county. Well, I mean, that's nice that there's 56 people, but that's not going to wet that towel. We need a lot more people out there, and I think that we need to somebody needs to get out there and find out who are these groups, or where are these groups of people that are helping out, because we really don't know much information about that. We're only like Dave said, we're only assuming that they're out there doing something about it.
Right.
Don't really know. When that actually is more important than anything else. I mean, I would be thinking the ones that would be the ones that are, the ones that have the biggest, the heaviest hitters. In other words, like Benny Johnson, he should be out there, or even like Tim
Benny
Pool.
Johnson's not going to sacrifice that algorithm, so you can hang that up.
Yeah, I mean, the big heavy hitters, they need to be out there. They need to find this stuff out.
So what happens whenever like Sharia law, which involves pedophilia, forced when you force yourself on women, let's see here, domestic violence. Let's see what else. Yeah, a lot of, there's probably several others that I'm missing there, but all of those is a very prevalent practice whenever you're dealing with Sharia law. Okay. What happens? And by the way, in the United States, that's all that's supposed to be illegal in every state that you go to. You can't mess with underage people. You can't beat the crap out of your wife or girlfriend. You can't beat the crap out of your kids. Domestic violence. You can't do any of that. You can't. There's something else. But anyways, you can't do any of that stuff. But whenever you build up enough of a community, and you have a police force that's going to turn the other cheek and this is what people don't seem to realize, how dangerous it is to have a bunch of Muslims, especially now we realize what we can get away with so far as Jewish people. I'm not mad at Jewish people. I'm talking about the Israel government goes in front of our Congress and then tries to set in place laws where anything that's related to speaking out against them is considered anti-Semitic and should carry some form of legal action. Okay, if they can get away with even attempting to do that, and enough swings with that bat, eventually going to hit that ball, and they're going to get something going. And Florida already has kind of went that direction for some odd reason.
Exactly.
What happens when enough Muslims, as extreme as they are, realize that we start to realize what they're up to, and we start to nail it down and start making a big hoodoo about it? Don't you think that any of those people would be ready to come down on anybody with an iron fist way harder than any of the Israel government people? So this is the dangers are just right around the corner. They're just waiting for their turn. Especially once, like I said, once they get enough of their numbers in place, which they breed. You think that that illegal Mexicans that come across the border and have babies or breed? You wait till you see what happens when you have a whole bunch of inbred Muslims running around out here because first cousins are screwing up here in the United States, making retarded babies. Yeah, that's not going to be good at all. And then they're going to be handed over congressional seats with zero IQ. Oh, and they can't wait to just do bad things to you. It's coming. This is the destruction of the Western world from within. It doesn't have to be a bunch of laws and people dropping bombs on us. All they got to do is just wait it out.
Well, here's something else. Here's something you got to think about too. Take Minneapolis, Minnesota, plus Dearborn, Michigan. Two strongholds of Muslims with tens of thousands of people. Stop and think about this. With the Sharia law, you're allowed to have as many wives as you want. Mm-hmm. You're also allowed to have by Sharia law, your wife can be your wife at age 9. So my point is, since this has been around,
I think it's actually young. Is it not younger? They can wife younger than that, but they can't technically do anything flexual to them until they're 9 years old.
Right, but in other words, point being is 9 years old is still a child. His same as 10 or whatever.
And
but the point
is that they disgrace the family.
But how many people right now in the Muslim communities have more than one wife? How many of them have wives that are under the age of 18? Just point blank. These people, somebody's got to do some investigating into this stuff because, they seem to be pretty comfortable with pushing their ways and their methods on everybody else, like we saw with the store there, that they can go out and tell people, well, you're not allowed to sell cigarettes, you're not allowed to sell gambling, lottery tickets, or you're not allowed to do this, that. How many of them actually have wives they're breaking all sorts of laws? Somebody should look into that. We need somebody out there to really get out there and look into it. Because
this is the thing. You're totally right, but this won't happen because the same people who are allowing the criminality in Charlotte are the same people who facilitated the ease of movement for these Muslims to operate in these small communities, and it's all by design. They're not going to because they're part of it. And
Yeah.
and a lot of these laws that you're talking about are state laws. And so I don't believe there's a federal law in place for actual uh, age of consent. I have to look into that. I don't know if I'm right about that, but I don't believe it's a federal law. I believe it's a state law, and it's
Every
all
state,
states agree. So,
every
so
state
in other
has a
words,
law. I believe that the youngest in the United States went from 14 up to 16.
yep,
I
okay,
can't
so
remember.
okay, but we want people to look into this, and I'm only saying the reason why you're not seeing it is because there's no room for the federal government. This is all state stuff, and in these states where this is happening, it's the wolf guarding the hen house, and it's only going to manifest. And then what's going to happen is these people are going to end up in high-ranking congressional seats, and they're going to fortify their way of life, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's going to be that's where and what this could happen within the next 10 years,
Well,
and
and
it
the
could be
other
really
the other
bad.
thing that I wonder about this area up in Michigan, what if you're not from that area and of that belief? Do you believe the police department would treat you differently than if you were a Muslim?
Yeah, it happens already.
Well,
Happens already.
I'm sure, yeah. But I
There's a
mean,
lot of people in Minnesota. See, this Muslim stuff is real heavy duty in Minnesota, and there's a lot of people that do small blogs, and they'll talk about some of the experiences they've had when it came to them being domestically violenced against by their significant other, and the police not doing anything because that's okay to them. They're Muslim police officers, and so to them it's not a big deal. They'll write up a little BS report and pretty much leave the scene, and give the guy a tap on the back and say, "Good job, buddy. You really beat the crap out of her. I could have done better myself." And that's basically where we're at. And when their cries for help are being not called upon, because the only way to do something about that is to federalize that area. And we only have so many National Guard troops to go around. And so at this point, we've got to focus our energy on what's more important. If you get most of these illegals out, then they kind of tone it down a little bit, and you can work on the rest a little bit later. But until that happens, while these illegals are 425 employees in North Carolina at a
Yeah.
damn a battery factory, and it was all by
Georgia.
design. Was it Georgia? No, it was North Carolina.
Georgia. That was
No, well,
Georgia.
Georgia. Well,
Otherwise, it's a deep south one way or another. The
yeah,
Hyundai plant, Hyundai battery
that
plant.
was that was, oh yeah, that's right, because Biden was the one who put that in, who got that all rolling. Like, yeah, I've
Yep.
negotiated a deal for Hyundai to put a battery plant in Georgia, and then immediately filled
Yep.
it full of illegals.
Yep. Brought them all in for it too. Got the money
Yeah.
and brought the people in.
Hmm.
All in one swoop of the pen. And I guarantee you it's probably auto pen.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're definitely man, I'm gonna tell you what, we got some rough. Anybody that thinks, well, we got Trump in, we can sit back. I talked about this before because I was live streaming with Matt. Did like an 8-hour live stream during the election in 2024, and I remember some of the people that were close to saying, "Well, now I can finally kick back a little bit. We got Trump in there," and I was like, "Really? That's a dangerous thought process right there off the
Indeed.
gate."
Absolutely.
So we have to actually double down as content creators. We need to move even faster and stronger, and be more strategic. And because the attack has just now started, because they now our guys in, and now this is where media is going to use their talking points to try to delegitimize everything that Trump does, and we need to be able to get ahead of it. And of course, you know, whether or not it's working or not, we're not just sitting back letting it happen. You know, North Carolina being in the radar. I can't play the music, but um, to Tawana Brown. Uh, so Tawana Brown, this lady that you see right here. Make sure I got the music down and off. Let me show you what she's doing here. So she's rerunning for her congressional seat. She's a a council member in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she is currently indicted for embezzling over $100,000 the past year while she was in her council seat. And the charges are pretty damning. They're not even like it's. She should be in jail right now. Why she has a bond or was able to get out is crazy. Because if you actually look into the details behind how she laundered the money and how she implicated her daughters as well, she's got family members, daughters that are involved in this money laundering scheme. She has now filed to run again, so she's going to try to keep her congressional seat. In the middle of the, they made George Santos quit under some minor stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And here you are. Let me show you something else too. I've got a bunch of this stuff here. Here are the two people who you heard in D.C. There was a 21-year-old Congress intern who was he was a little white dude, and he was just the average little white guy. He was just, wasn't a real big dude, he was just, pretty kind of defenseless in a way. And these two boys right here are the ones that were behind unaliving that person. The details of it was kind of murky, but apparently there was gunfire that was going off, and I think that the congressperson was actually not an intended target. I believe it was just a rival gang fight going off, and these two right here were involved in it. And so this happened in
like
DC.
21 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because of these two fine, upstanding gentlemen, a super productive person who would have been a great addition to this world is gone, and these two people exist, which is not good at all. Another Muslim controversy right here, and this is something I've been kind of keeping up with.
Yeah.
This woke BLM.
Yeah.
She's a former illegal migrant. This is a good example of what I was talking about in one of my other videos of how when they come over here like this, they're not coming over to be American. They're coming over to take over. They're coming over here to get in your congressional seat and then flood their ideology into your system and corrupt it and invert it for their favor. This woke BLM and former illegal migrant on Boston City Council sentenced to prison for corruption. And there's videos of her slamming her hand down on let me see if I can get her name here. It's Tiana Fernandez. And while I'm kind of talking a little bit, let me see here. She is, dude. I'm gonna tell you something right now. That woman is absolutely off the chain, 100% nuts. Like really, I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna show you this video of her antics here. And but I think that Dave knows. He's already seen some of it. You remember her?
Yes, I remember her.
I am too.
Yeah, right. Oh, here you go. Right here. I think I've got it right here.
She's a whack job.
Right? Yep.
Right.
What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman?
Well, first of all, steal a bunch of money.
Yeah. There you go.
Steal a bunch of money from your town
and convert, be a Muslim, be part of the BLM. Yeah.
Yep. Which, by the way, like I said earlier, is all moving towards Muslim ideology. And speak about corruption and towns and all that. We haven't heard anything out of Tiffany Henyard lately. What's up with that? Is she ever going to face any charges for all the stuff that she did?
Probably.
John and I were the only. Yeah. Probably not.
Didn't get us started.
Tiffany Henyard, I don't know.
People are calling me and telling me, don't say anything. Stay in your lane. Be quiet. Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight. What the fuck do I have to do in this fucking council in order to get respect as a black woman? And I'm going to tell you.
Watch your potty mouth for one.
I'm losing the votes. I'm not afraid of the seat. I'm not afraid of anybody here. This people are calling me and telling me.
What if she's got back trouble?
Yeah. From leaning over? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you reckon those are the Percocets talking?
Center of balance
Doctor
is a
says I
little bit.
got lower back pain for some reason, but yeah, she's out. She went to prison, by the way. Yeah, she's in prison now. So
Yeah. So what's with this? With the new? Well, you know how they're supposed to have their face covered and all that. Let me see.
talking about the Hajib. The Hajib is. Let me get that off here. Went to prison. That bitch went to prison.
Yeah, like
Good deal.
like this right here.
Yeah.
Oh, you got something up. Sorry, I was going to show you something here.
Yeah, I didn't. I like.
One.
What the hell's going on? Is that me? Or, what are you doing?
I just
me.
okay. There we go. Okay. See the police officer. Notice she's wearing that. It's like she got one foot in one world and another foot in another world.
Are you sure she's just not just getting out of a Top Fuel dragster? That's just the fire retardant headgear.
Yeah, well, it could be. It could be. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, even you get in these areas where there's a lot of Muslims, you'll see areas where the women still cover their face and everything.
Yeah.
And even if they work at Walmart, they still wear their full garb with their little vest over the top of it. You know, it's really strange to see if you're not, used to seeing that. But
yeah.
I
don't
have
understand.
one thought
Remember, she's kind of holding to her beliefs in a way, but yet she's a police officer working out there, which, according to her religion, she shouldn't be doing that. Right?
Yep.
But I have one thought that I'd like to see people around this country start to indoctrinate, and that's it's something that's not new. It's been old. People not only keep dogs and cats as pets, they also keep pigs. And I would really love to see people in Michigan and in Minnesota start to have, people that are MAGA and people.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
In other words, walk around downtown Minneapolis and walk around downtown Dearborn with a pig on a leash. I guarantee you that would create. I guarantee you that would be so endearing to watch.
You need it as a service animal so that you can walk into
right. And pigs are accepted too. They're domesticated.
Well, the thing is, if something violent happened to those pigs, and the cops wouldn't do anything because they're all Muslims, and it would be a tragedy to see pigs get harmed in that manner. And
well, they can end up as a barbecue that night. I mean, it's not exactly if a dog was killed, that would be that'd be a tragic loss. But at least if they kill the pig, they can real quick get it onto a barbecue grill.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there's Nancy's got that in there. 1 month in prison, 3 years supervised for release. Wow.
Ordered to pay back $13,000.
What's that? All I got was 1 month in prison, 3 years supervised release, ordered to pay back. What happened? Stitch? What? What happened?
One count for woman.
What's that?
What happened?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard.
Right.
Huh. Well, crime does pay.
Well, I guess in that case, somewhat.
Yeah, it does. I've actually seen it pay off dividends here lately. I've seen where people were finally held accountable for their crimes after they laundered hundreds of thousands, almost millions of dollars, and after a small little stay in prison, and or a really nice one at that, they just kind of get out, they do their little probation, to pay back just about like a 1/64 of that money. If you've been caught embezzling that kind of money, you need to pay it all back. You need to be, even if you don't have it, that needs to be over your head. They need to seize all your assets, everything that you have gained through that money. But because they were going to try to do Rudy Giuliani on that, just because of the fact that he did not give out the names of the two daughters who were in charge of sending all those ballots through down there in Georgia when they found them under the table. It was another content creator. He just merely repeated what he heard. And they tried to make Rudy Giuliani pay everything and lose all of everything. But here's this Tiffany Henyard that completely, like, it's bad stuff. Bad stuff. Here. I can't show this enough. You know who this is right here? Boop. You know who that is?
No, who is that?
That's J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois' cousin, who is a transmission. Yeah. And by the way, did you know that is a retired Army colonel?
Right.
Yeah, that's Pritzker's cousin.
Retired Army colonel slash millionaire who has donated buttloads of money to helping kids gender dysphoria, which means butt surgeries, cooter surgeries, hormone blockers, all that stuff. You know, getting really good graphic books into the schools. This is J.B. Pritzker's cousin right there. Yeah, sure enough. Figured I would show you that. I just also too, before we run out of time, just to touch base on what happened in Charlotte. Here's a few imageries of some stuff that people need to see. This is the judge in Mecklenburg County in North Carolina. His name is Judge Roy Wiggins. Wiggins. Yep. I know, right? It's like a Simpsons name almost. But here is Teresa Stokes, the magistrate who allowed the DeCarlos Brown to remain out of custody prior to the Charlotte light rail stabbing. And this case was Judge Teresa Stokes. She was like, you know, when he was brought in front of the magistrate, whether he was going to be put on bond and all that, she let him out. Magistrate judge. This is by the way, the mayor of that town of Charlotte where this happened. Let me see if I can make this big enough so we can all see it. It says here in a statement Tuesday, Lyles did not mention. This is Lyles is the last name of the mayor in Charlotte. Did not mention the victim by name or discuss any of the specific measures the Charlotte area transit system or police are taking to address safety on a public street. She focused on the suspect and urged others not to demonize homeless people. Lyles said that the suspect appeared to have struggled with mental health and suffered a crisis. She said Charlotte and its transit system are by and large safe, which they say this every time a big tragic event happens, but the incident highlights the need for stronger support systems. In other words, we need more mental health facilities. Or, you know, this guy's not as mentally as people would say. I guarantee you, he's just a dude that just does messed up stuff. But we will never arrest our way out of these issues, such as homelessness and mental health. Lyles said mental health disease is just that, a disease like any other that needs to be treated with the same compassion, diligence, and commitment as cancer or heart disease. You know, would you believe that they actually they categorized alcoholism in the same fashion? Okay, they've done this years ago, and I'm going to piss off some people. I was a raging alcoholic, drank every day. I would get drunk twice a day.
Really?
I stopped. Well, I think I've told you about that. Maybe I never did, but
I think you mentioned it, but I didn't know that you were a raging alcoholic.
Yeah. From the age of 17 to the age of 30 years old, almost 31, I was an extremely heavy alcoholic. I worked every day, but I drank every day. I would get drunk almost every night. On the weekends, I would wake up early on Saturday and Sundays and start drinking. And at lunchtime, I was ready to pass out, and I'd wake back up at 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon and drink some more. Okay, I lost my driver's license. I had 27 revoked driver's license tickets. I finally woke up one day and decided not to drink anymore. I never went to AA. I never went to rehab. However, I did have other demons. I had other demons as well, dealing with drugs, pain pills, and different things like that. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I want people to understand just what they're trying to do to society by labeling some of these issues that people have as a disease, because it gives the leftists and the people who are in charge of destroying society a quick out when it's time to hold these people accountable. Would you believe, because of the fact that people's alcoholism is called a disease now, it enables the government to give them government subsidized checks like welfare. There's a lot of people right now that are getting welfare because of being labeled as alcoholic, and because of that disease that's out of their control, they cannot function in this world and keep a job, so they get a disability check. This is not a joke. I'm not making this up, but this is just by trying to cover up and say that his mental health is the reason why this is happening. They're already setting this dude up for a light sentence and a slap on the wrist, and gearing up other people to act in the same fashion with zero impunity, or wait a minute, zero consequences. All I might have used wrong words. Yeah, without impunity, something like that. So, anyways, I'm just letting you know what we're headed into when you hear words like that. And I like to tell my story because I want people to be inspired that you don't have to go through all that crazy, stupid leftist stuff trying to get over something that's all in your head. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, well, this video I got queued up here. I think it's Gutfield. I've had it back here for a while, so I figure we'd probably close out on this. Let's go on.
I love the idea of changing names to represent the ideal, right? It's pure persuasion. This is why a lot of liberals like Jessica have to psychoanalyze him, because they don't understand persuasion. When you have somebody like Van Hollen who speaks like a lawyer, you're never going to persuade anybody. They should do this with all the departments. The ATF, which is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, just call it the Department of Fun. The IRS, the Department of Extortion, the Department of Indian Affairs, casinos. TSA, just call it second base. But Trump is the most anti-war president I've ever had the pleasure of being alive for. And all of his strikes, as you know, are highly specific. And you can only do that with a really, really powerful war machine. We predicted that the taking out the narco terrorists, in a matter of time, the media and the Dems would side with the narco terrorists because Trump did it. And also because their problems, i.e. the bad guys, always seem to matter more than ours, Americans, whether it's fentanyl, gangs, sex trafficking. I'm sure one of those drug smugglers, we will find out through Van Hollen, owned a puppy and used to read to his grandma late at night. But we talk about the past. We don't have to go that far for this distinction. Trump was making a distinction about the last 4 years. What did Biden do to the Department of Defense? He turned it into a laboratory for social experimentation. It wasn't about protecting the country. We saw it. Everybody knew it. It was about making it an enlightened vehicle for the rainbow people. They treated the military like a Disney remake. Let's update all the characters, right? We'll add a gay here, put a trans here, a non-binary woodland elf. And then Trump enters the picture. He says, no. It's about war. And if it doesn't fit that definition, we don't want it. His critics don't understand this. And he drives them crazy because he operates on a superpower they don't have, which is persuasion. What is persuasion? Blunt language, usually that's pretty colorful and memorable. Department of War. He understands incentives and disincentives. Department of War is a disincentive. What he also has you think past the sale. Calling it the Department of War then has you accept the premise in its own title. So when you hear things, you go, we need new missiles. Department of War. That sounds about right. We want a diversity month. Is that diverse? Is that Department of War? No, it isn't. So he creates this world for you, and it drives the left crazy because they still haven't found the person who can do this.
There we go.
Well, they had Obama. He was pretty good at it. I mean, he really was. I mean, that's the danger. That when they find that person, it's going to be the greatest weapon they ever had against America. Yeah. They had him. His name was Obama, but they haven't found another one yet. They think Gavin Newsom.
Have you seen the Obama 28 T-shirts?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
but I think that the Democrats actually think Gavin Newsom is slick enough that he can pull off an Obama-style persuasion act. But I mean, and he might be able to, but if he keeps doing his fucking arms like this every time he turn around and doing all this weird shit, it's just not.
Well, I mean, also a video popped up just the other day that's showing Newsom falling on his ass coming out of an airplane, going down the stairs. You know, bump, 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 bump on his ass.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean,
Jammed
he's
his
right
butt
in there
plug in
with
there where he
Biden.
had to have it medically removed. There's one of those butt plugs that has like LED lights that changes with the Bluetooth phone.
Yeah. All righty. Well, I guess that's our hour. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in, and thank you, Nancy Dunks, for hanging out there with us, and everybody else that popped in. And Stephanie, I see you still out there. So it's just keeping an eye on her husband over here. No.
Yeah, keeping alive. But what Nancy said about tenured being learn how to do cover up crime better in prison, that's true. A lot of people when they go to it's like school, yeah. Prison for the people. But if you leave them in there long enough, they get tired of doing it or something.
You changed the name of your channel to what again? I keep forgetting it.
It's Ratchet Productions. It's a play on mechanics.
Schools, Ratchet. Okay.
Yeah. It you know, trying to step away from the algorithm that gets mad at people doing conservative content, even though I'm doing conservative. Just the name alone kind of breaks away from that. And by the way, some of the things I do are very unprofessional, so we can kind of play on words with it being sort of ratchet, you know, while using ratchet. And it's
like Nurse Cratchit.
Yeah.
And we got John, still American in Brazil, right? You haven't changed your name. Right? All right. Okay. Well, I guess I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.